Hello, let's talk bioeconomy. Now that's an emerging concept that has to do with production, utilization and conservation of biological resources, of course, including related knowledge, science, technology and innovation to provide information, products, processes and services across all economic sectors, and of course the aim is to build a sustainable economy. It is also refers to production, just giving you of course a layman's analysis of what bioeconomy means. We hear it also has to do with production of renewable biological resources and conversion of those resources and waste streams into value-added products, of course, like food, feed, bio-based products, as well as bioeconomy. Now, the forecast change in climate conditions and increasing depletion of fossil fuel sources also require, the economy to be, of course, based preferably in renewable resources. Also, again, securing global nutrition demands and increase in productivity with huge regards to protecting resources and environment. But bioeconomy offers the future opportunity to reconcile economic growth with environmentally responsible action. That's, of course, in a nutshell. And what is the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning doing? It's bringing stakeholders together to brainstorm on bio-based economy and the way forward for Nigeria. How can we apply this new concept, of course, to grow our economy? And this will be part of our conversation today on the program, Nigeria Today. I am Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak. Thank you for joining me. All right, as I said earlier on, this is an emerging new concept for us. So I'll have my guests here in the studio to break down the concept. Let me quickly introduce the Samuel Eloho, who is the Director, Economic Growth Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, of course, who will break down this untapped potential for us. Mr. Eloho, thank you very much for joining me on the program.
Thank you.
You know Professor Kenny Fair. He's a familiar face here. He's our own a macroeconomic policy analyst and, of course, developmental economist. Thank you, Professor Kenny Fair. I said, in fact, before we came on, I was trying to make meaning out of this emerging concept. Should I start with you, Mr. Loho? This is your area. So what is this all about? We've heard of new value addition concepts. Of course, we know knowledge-driven process, we know ICT. So what is this all about?
Okay, thank you very much. You have already introduced the subject, but I'll tell you that bioeconomy involves developing, producing. When you develop, you produce. Then you use. You can as well even export bio-solutions through the strengthening and through bio-solutions and thereby strengthening and moving the economy forward. You develop, you produce, you use, you also export different products. And by so doing, you strengthen the economy. It's practically involve the implementation of innovation at the interspace of many sectors, many stakeholders involved in it.
So what is the innovation here? Because that's the key word you have brought into.
Yes. The key word is innovation. It starts with research and development, biological or bioscience research. And then when the research is done, we have National Biotechnology Development Agency, we have Raw Materials Research Agency, we have a number of these. They develop a product. After developing it, this product now needs other fields, other sectors. It needs the industry to now buy into it. Yes, this product, when developed, we can produce it. So from development, the industry produces it. Then when it is produced, it needs markets. It needs market to buy and sell it. So the process for the development of the market, because there are some products that have been developed in the past, but no market for it, no buyers. They don't know the value. Or it's, one reason could be it is substandard. Because like the green tea, I've seen several ones in the shelf. After a while, they disappear. And even if you take it at the beginning, you will not like to take it again because it is not well developed. So the products have to be standardized. Those to standardize it have to come in. And then when standardized, now it can be mass produced for the entire economy. And by so doing, even other products can come out from it. So value chain is a key word also in that area.
Professor Ken, if you want to give us more clarification on what this is all about, this concept, because we hear of innovation, which means we are using technology to drive, product creation and, of course, adding value, chain.
Correct. Literally every technology available today in science, in technology, in engineering, and even in ICT, satellite, they all come together and converged to work on these biological, molecular level biological processes, enzymes, microbes, working with them to create brand new products that actually compete and are even more superior to the traditional products that we know today. And the three key areas are not just products, but services, and the three
Talk
key...
about recreation.
Yeah.
That brings to my mind the recent cotton.
Okay,
Cotton,
I'll go to that. There are three major areas. There's one area where you are just using those processes to create new products. For example, biotechnology is one area where cotton seed or seed technology, where cotton seed, traditional cotton seeds here are yielding 0.7 tons per hectare, but they have been re-engineered to yield 5 tons per hectare, which is more than 5 times. And then you have rice from 2 tons to 6 tons per hectare. And then you have even yam multiplication now that normally your mini sets which you replant can cost you 100 to 300 naira. And now you're having millions of yam seed extracted from the leaf. So, and I've heard about a program to produce 100 million yam seedlings. That means we could double and triple our current production. Nigeria produces 70% of world yam production. To think that we could triple and double that in existing footprints. The second area is using these processes to remediate the environment and then also to contain the climate change, the effect of climate change. And when you do that in mitigating or adapting, then you can actually generate carbon credit, which means we will look for new ways. We are now going to have new ways of financing projects through climate financing mechanisms. And there's a third area where you are using these organisms to act on our waste and then convert them into renewable, into other resources. For example, 22 million metric tons of yam and cassava peelings are dumped as waste.
This is not really, this is not really new, is it?
No, there are some aspect of it, because when you call it an economy, then it means you are moving from test tube to through incubation to production and access to market. So that particular area where you are getting all these millions of tons of waste now converted to feed for cattle and then converted to biofertilizers and get back into the circular economy, get back into the system. And also an example is rice. 10 million metric tons of rice husks could either be used to generate power or could also be...
so why are we talking about it at this period?
Why we are talking about it at this period? Because now, the period now is where Nigeria is eager, more than ever before, to diversify the economy. Now is the period government is very anxiously looking for all ways to diversify the revenue base because we depend only on oil today. So the bioeconomy, when fully created, will be able to solve some of the problem of diversification because it will create new products, new value chain new sources of revenue. The economy will create jobs for millions. And I estimate that in the next 3 years, if the bioeconomy is focused on, we can get more than 10 million jobs from the bioeconomy. Because Nigeria is a tropical country with vast bioresources, but they are not harvested. They are a sort of threat to us. Look at water hyacinth, for instance. Go to Lagos, go to all this. It's a threat to the environment, it's a threat to human beings. But this is a bioresource, very valuable. It can be so useful in producing fertilizer. It can be so useful even in biofuel production.
Yes, because I was coming to that. Because if you say it has the potential of adding 10 million jobs, of course, take it. That's a huge, amount out of our poverty. Unemployment, statistics. I'm looking at the product area. What are these product area that we're likely to?
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Not everybody can be employed in oil industry and gas industry or in mining. But the 202 million Nigerians can all be employed in bioeconomy. And that means that we're all fed up with excuses being given to young people today for unemployment. That is an area where everybody will be involved in all kinds of activity to generate wealth. It comes into agriculture. You have greenhouse production, you have aquaculture, aquaponics, aeroponics, diverse methodologies for producing food and at productivity that are about 5 to 10 times more. If you grow tomato or any other product on 1 hectare of land, the maximum you can get from the potato or from the pepper or tomato is 18 tons. But in 1 hectare of greenhouse, using seed technology, you can get 300 metric tons, 15 to 20 times more in confined space. So, and it also helps us because the agroecological footprint is shrinking because of the conflict in the northeast, in northwest, banditry, north central conflict of our agricultural systems. And now we have over 4 million people in the IDP camps. But with the existing footprint, we can triple and quadruple our productivity and make sure that every young person is involved
What is
in creating new products.
Yes. What is the nexus between genetically modified products, of course, and the bioeconomy?
Well, biogenetics is one of the fields of the thing. And the majority of the things that we produce in biogenetics are acceptable, but there may be some that are areas of concern. But let me take you one example. NNPC needs 10 million liters of bioethanol. And so Dangote needs about 20 million liters. So that's a known demand waiting. And they want to do 1 million hectares of cassava and sugarcane. In cassava, for example, we have stems from IITA that can actually increase the yield from 18 tons to 45 to 50 tons per hectare. So that means that we are able right now, we are able to grow the feedstock required to give them the bioethanol that they require to reduce our consumption of petrol.
So we have the
by using we have the resources.
Okay, we will look at that. You quickly, add. You wanted to say something just before we take a short break.
Yes. What I wanted to say is the bioeconomy, Nigeria has the potential, but this potential, what does it involve? Research and innovation. Then producing these products, market it, export it. But the issue is that we have not organized ourselves. We have not organized ourselves. Our research are still in the laboratory. Then these products are not being produced. The value chain is not created. The value chain is not created. The products are not marketed. So we need to organize ourselves, and the starting point for most countries is, first of all, have a framework.
Precisely.
Have
Because I was
a
going to ask
framework.
you if we have the framework, but it's a good point for us to take a short break.
Yes.
And when we come back, we now look at the framework for, of course, developing, our own bioeconomy, if we have not started. You're watching Nigeria Today, and we are discussing bioeconomy, an emerging, concept, of course, for sustainable development. And I have been speaking with Samuel Eloho and Professor Ken Ife. Don't go, we'll be right back.
Advertising your goods and services on the right channel gives you an edge over your competitors. NTA News 24 has all the platforms for your target audience. The station is on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46, StarTimes channel 101, and Free TV channel 703. With our digital format and wide range, we can reach your customers in next to no time. We are eager to promote your business, goods, and services. So, partner with us for a very rewarding business experience. For more information, please call Henry on 0803-379-0884 or visit our office at NTA Headquarters, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. NTA News 24. News and more news.
So welcome back. You're watching Nigeria Today, and we're discussing bioeconomy. Samuel Eloho, Director, Economic Growth, Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, is here with me, as well as Professor Ken Ife, who is, of course, a macroeconomic policy analyst and developmental economist. Gentlemen, thank you once again for staying tuned. We were going to look at the framework, if we do have one, by the Ministry of concerned ministries and agencies. We talked about the technology agencies earlier on.
For the framework, right now we do not have one in place, but usually that is the starting point. That is why on the 30th and 31st of last month, January, we had a stakeholder workshop here in Abuja at 3J Hotel in Utako, and the workshop was declared open by the Honorable Minister of State for Finance, Budget and National Planning. And the purpose of it was first to sensitize the stakeholders, and then two, to start the process of developing a framework. The framework will cover all the areas of the bioeconomy, because one contentious issue had been everybody want to do his own. Minister of Environment want to focus on environment. Minister of Science and Tech want to look at the GMO. Health want to look at their own products. Agri want to look there. So the framework brings everyone together, and over 170 participants from all the MDAs, from the private sector and from the academia, the donor communities were there, and they were grouped into 4 thematic areas to kickstart the process of developing the framework. And they were given some questions, and they responded to them, but that is just the base to sensitize them on the need to accept the fact that you cannot do it alone. You cannot achieve the efficiency that is that can be that is needed when you do it on your own. And the bioeconomy strategy is one thing. There's one thing common with it. It is efficient. For instance, when you are pursuing green growth on its own, all you pursue is let's green the environment. Let's green the environment without taking the economy into consideration, without knowing that it will bring even the revenue that you are crying about. But when you adopt a bioeconomic approach, in greening it, you make sure you create growth.
In terms of addition to the GDP.
Okay.
Professor Ken.
Now, if you look at the size of the economy, German government, Germany, their energy is 2.4 trillion euros. It's 70% of their GDP. America is $800 billion. And many other countries. And I reckon that by 2025, our bioeconomy may be in the region of 20%, which will be about $200 billion. And by 2030, for Nigeria, and 2030, it might actually get to as high as $1.2 billion. Now, the reasons for this is, that we are having an end-to-end intervention where we are collapsing all the, the way people work. We are on there's a research end which has a lot of products.
Exactly.
And then the research ends with their products will have to move to innovation. We have to move to incubation.
So do we
from
need new industries to drive this?
The private sector will have to come in and drive this. They are going to take it to production processes, to manufacturing processes, to create market for it, to export some of the. And if you take much of the products in the bioeconomy space, there isn't anything to import really that we cannot fabricate in the country. But there's everything you produce there that can be exported, as long as you are producing to standards, as Sam has mentioned. So it's a huge vista of opportunity for our young people and for our economy. It will open the space. Secondly, we have development partners that are confused as to how to support us, because people are working in silos.
Indeed.
But now there is that we are working towards a strategy, and they can see where they fit in.
Is there any...
There are also pots of funding all over the place. Anko Borowa's program, there's so many program funding that have to be aligned.
Why are we drawing back? It seems we're drawing back, Mr. Law. Why are we drawing back on this very huge potential?
Well, we are not drawing back. We are moving forward now. The starting point is that workshop we had, and the next, we have outlined next actions. For instance, we found some gap that capacity need to be enhanced in the MDAs, and we are already doing that. In short, from that workshop, 4 thematic areas were created for the entire economy, and people were in it. And those people have created platform, and they interact every day on their various areas. We have bio-entrepreneurship as a thematic area. We have bioenergy as a thematic area. We have inclusive green growth and financing mechanism, because finance is a great problem in Nigeria. But you can access so much, even globally, before even coming in. Okay. Then the first group is research, innovation, where the academia, we had them in abundance. The academia and research institutes.
Okay, we have less than 60 seconds. Professor Ken, are there gaps that you're concerned about?
I can see why this is not going to take Nigeria with a storm. The gaps are there to fill, which is what we are doing right now. Closing the gaps, dotting the T's and crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and making sure that we bring everybody into the same frame. And that is the starting point, and that is what we are doing. And there can be no stopping us.
And we do need, of course, we don't need a kind of legal framework.
But this is the framework.
Of course, we need legal framework. The people we invited those from the legal institutions, and they asked the question, and we explained to them, for new product, new value chain, you need the legal framework, and they are here to fulfill that.
Okay. Including intellectual property protection.
All right, gentlemen, our time is up, and I must appreciate both of you, Mr. Samuel Eloho of the Ministry of Finance, and of course, Professor Ken Ife, macroeconomic analyst. Thank you very much for joining me and for giving us an understanding of this concept. I think we should do more about this. It's quite interesting to me. Thank you.
Excellent.
And that's where we end today's program, Nigeria Today. We thank you, and I do appreciate all of you for your attention. And don't forget, you can always watch Nigeria Today live every weekday at 7 in the evening. And you can also catch this and other episodes on our YouTube address. That's at www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am Claire Delabab Abdurrazak. From all of us here, good night.